The final words of Jesus, the last thing he said to his disciples and apostles, and to us before he physically left the earth to return one day in glory. There were, of course, later revelations from heaven and to the Apostle John on the Isle of Patmos in the book of Revelation. But the final thing the Lord Jesus said to us, to his church, and to his disciples of that time was what we read recorded in Acts chapter 1, verse 6, just when he ascended from the Mount of Olives into heaven. Quite a passage. One would expect logically that of all the things that the Lord Jesus said and taught and emphasized, the thing that would stand out in our mind the most would be the last thing he said to us before he left. His final exhortation, his final command, the last thing he told us before he left. Yet ironically, and in many senses tragically, it seems to be the thing so many Christians today have forgotten. We live in an age where error is running rampant. In this age we live in, we see one misguided Christian after another, following one false teaching after another, and these teachings, some of them bordering on heretical and others even out and out apostate, have become mainstream in the thinking of many evangelicals. Some are simply serious errors, such as replacement theology. Others are perversions of the gospel, such as the word faith, name it and claim it, prosperity money gospels. Other things like restorationism, dominion theology, reconstructionism, these things have all gained momentum in recent years, although they've been around for centuries, and are continuing to go from strength to strength in certain quarters, with more and more Christians being caught up in these things. Not least of all are the fundamental errors found in the purpose-driven agenda propagated by Mr. Rick Warren, who completely distorts the text of Acts chapter 1, verse 6 out of all reasonable context, with a cut and paste kind of butchering that some imagine to be exegesis. So many of the errors today are errors which directly emanate from the fact that we are ignoring the last thing that Jesus told us. The apostles asking him, Lord, is it at this time you are restoring the kingdom to Israel? And his response. When we understand what they were asking him and why, and when we understand the full context of his response, it answers so many questions that so many Christians have today and automatically exposes so many of the popular trends among evangelical Christians in the Western world today for the erroneous beliefs they are. The last thing Jesus said. Of all of the books I've written, if you've never read any, the first one I would encourage you to read is the first one I wrote. The Final Words of Jesus and Satan's Lies Today. If you've not read this book, you probably need to. I'm Jacob Prasch. God bless and thank you.